Opening is one of the biggest. What is the data that you've got, and does data, for an actress like you, having spent more than 2 decades in the industry, matter a lot?
Definitely. I think the validation at the box office is important. It's important to any actor because that's the feedback we get. That's in a way the audience's acceptance of the film.
Yeah.
Zoya, a female character, you get to see her mounted in a film like this, a film of this scale, and we see such a strong female character.
While I was watching the hammam scene, and I thought, my God, somebody could envisage that this can happen in a hammam.
Yes.
There is a fine line between sexy and sassy at the same time, being cross-cultural. What's the thought that always stayed in your mind?
The kind of trust that I have in Adi and Manish as producer and director, I know that they are safeguarding that line, which you said, between and making it credible and sassy, and keeping the integrity of the characters. And I know that they're watching that at every moment. You have to do a sequence like that. You have to have complete trust in the team you're working with, because it has to be presented in the right manner. And I think that that's what they achieved with the sequence. There was that. Everything was intact. It was believable. You believed Zoya doing this in this moment, and yet it was still real. There was a realness to it. You really believed that these 2 women were there fighting for something important.
Yeah.
What I think is beautiful about this industry is, yes, there are, like you said, the norms, but you also can do what's right for you, and you also can participate at your own pace and your own comfort. For me, my work is worship. I think so much of my identity has come from my work and the movies I do, and when I'm on a film set, everything else is secondary.
I read somewhere, I was watching a video where you said that Gone with the Wind was your inspiration.
Oh,
to
now you're
become
talking
an
a
actor.
good few years back.
Now,
Gone with the Wind was one of my favorite films. I grew up on these old classic films, and that was how I saw cinema. Movies was this romantic, nostalgic, beautiful.
Katrina, many congratulations on the super success of Tiger 3.
Thank you.
I must tell you, an innocent face and a sporty, spunky, athletic body is a most luxurious visual to watch on screen. And I did get that feeling when I saw your scenes. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you know that zone? How cute, at the same time sexy that zone can be, isn't it?
No, I don't know that, but I'm going to take your word for it.
I was reminded of Zeenat Aman, and how in the last many years we had lost that prototype of an actress, and now we get it back with you doing action on screen. So great, so happy to see that. So I'm told that the weekend collection and the opening is one of the biggest for you, Salman, Tiger franchises, and many films over the past many years. What is the data that you've got, and does data, for an actress like you, having spent more than 2 decades in the industry, matter a lot?
Definitely. I think the validation at the box office is important. It's important to any actor because that's the feedback we get. That's in a way the audience's acceptance of the film.
Yeah.
The Tiger franchise, which has now become a franchise, but originally just started out as a film called Ek Tha Tiger, which was one of the films closest to my heart. I thought Zoya and Tiger had such phenomenal roles, and it was so well written by Kabir Khan, and I absolutely loved that film. And when they said, okay, listen, we're going to make a second part to it with Tiger Zinda Hai, I was like, wow, okay. I mean, I was really interested to see where they would take the story. And you had Ali Abbas Zafar, who was again a friend of mine, directing that film, and I think he has a natural affinity to these larger-than-life spectacle films, and he did such a beautiful job with taking the story forward. He did it very with a lot of ease.
Yes.
And in Tiger 3, I think there's a lot of maturity in the story. It's a different film. It's a different language. Manish Sharma has a very different way of looking at storytelling. He has a very unique lens. He really wants to delve into the characters. He wants to know the backstories. He wants to know what they're thinking, what drives them, and that makes the film. It gives it a very new spin. So it's been a really, really wonderful journey. And it's been, what now, 11 years that the Tiger franchise has been going on and been such a huge part of my life.
It is. Our lives too, actually. Our lives, everyone's lives. And I must congratulate the entire writing team, the director, the producer Aditya Chopra, all the writers who could think of a, of course, I mean, it was all started by Kabir, but then they took it forward.
Yes.
And this is such a gender statement, also a socio-political statement, also a larger statement. A woman who has a baby, you know, the man and the woman both have graduated in their ages. It's no longer just about youthful women and handsome men. It's about characters and inner strength. Mental strength also matters more than the physical strength in the last 20 decades, 20 years or so of watching action films. So there I thought the emotional quotient of the film was much higher than other action films. Don't you think so?
I think that the way, like you said, the writing of the film has just been really, really beautiful. There's been so much thought given to the characters. There's the emotional angles of the film are so intense and are so layered, and the way that they've given such respect to all the characters is what is really special for me. And you know, the fact that Zoya, a female character, you get to see her mounted in a film like this, a film of this scale, and we see such a strong female character. I think that's really heartening to see.
Yeah, yeah. Just a couple of days ago, I was watching an old interview of yours where you were talking about Anand Rai for your film, and he said that he convinced me, just trust me, Katrina, trust me.
Yeah, for zero.
Yeah. Were there any moments of like intense discussion with Manish Sharma in the course of this film or before the production?
Not on that level. I think we were quite aligned. I think we kind of understood the story, we understood the world, and there was a lot of meeting of minds. So I think it was quite seamless for us, this journey. A lot of excitement, a lot of travel. We went to quite a few different countries for this film.
How many?
There was Russia, there was Turkey, and that kind of togetherness as a unit when you're away from home, it kind of just bonds everyone together. I think we were just all shared an equal passion for what we were doing. You know, we all love this franchise. Manish used to always tell me that he's a fan of the Tiger films, you know, and now he's coming on board as a director. So I think the love was there from all of us, Salman, me, Manish, Adi. I think all of us love and are very invested in the Tiger series.
Actually, it must be protected because this is one of the very rare, very few things that we truly own, as opposed to what the movies we've been devouring, the international projects and series, and this is our very own homegrown project, and it should be taken forward in the next 50 years. While I was watching the hammam scene, you know, many years ago I was in Turkey, I was in Istanbul, and I did go to a hammam, and this scene took me back to those memories.
You're like, thank God that didn't happen to me.
And I thought, my God, somebody could envisage that this can happen in a hammam. Now at the same time, Katrina, this is, while it was very sexy while watching, because YRF reaches the entire world, and there is a fine line between sexy and sassy at the same time being cross-cultural. This movie reaches Western world, the Middle Eastern world, Far Eastern world, and you were a part of this, you know, this functioning of this scene. What's the thought that always stayed in your mind?
Exactly that I think the kind of trust that we have, the kind of trust that I have in Adi and Manish as producer and director, I know that they are safeguarding that line, which you said, between, you know, and making it credible and sassy, and keeping the integrity of the characters. And I know that they're watching that at every moment. You know, you have to do a sequence like that, you have to have complete trust in the team you're working with, because it has to be presented in the right manner. And I think that that's what they achieved with the sequence. There was that, everything was intact. It was believable. You believed Zoya doing this in this moment, and yet it was still real. It wasn't about about just for the sake of it. There was a realness to it. You know, you really believed that these two women were there fighting for something important.
Yeah, and it's great to watch two women fight finally. You know, it was really nice. I read a news article. I have shot n number of times with Vicky, and once he told me, we were talking about Prahar, one very understated action. It was not an action film, but it was actually Shyamji's first film as a action director, and we got talking about action and this whole world, and I saw and read a news article where Shyamji compliments you on your action skills. I thought, I mean, I don't have to ask anything or on this, but would you like to elaborate? It's such a compliment coming from a dad-in-law. It's India.
No, he was very, very happy when he saw the film. The first, he had just come off a flight and he was like, I'm getting so many calls from members of the media and they are saying that Zoya's action is so fantastic in the film and I feel so proud. And I think that was a very lovely reaction. It made me very happy to hear that.
Yeah, that's actually one of the finest compliments to get from your own dad-in-law.
Because he's such a renowned action director himself. So
has he ever directed you in the past?
Yes, very much so. We've done New York together. We've done a film called Phantom together. So we worked together quite a few times.
Wow, how life comes a full circle.
Yes.
Right? So sweet. And in a world where generally actors sometimes they have to highlight their achievements, often bordering on exaggeration, you have maintained a very peaceful ecosystem where you come out of the cocoon once your work comes out and then you silently go back and retreat. It's kind of nice to see
the analogy that you've made. I like that. I think that's well put.
Yeah, it's nice to see that. So what is your relationship with the popular trends of the industry?
In what sense?
Well, there are trends, airport looks and this look and this trends.
Yes, the airport
and many
looks.
actors have to fall prey to that.
What I think is beautiful about this industry is, yes, there are, like you said, the norms, but you also can do what's right for you. And you also can participate at your own pace and your own comfort. For me, my work is worship. I think so much of my identity has come from my work and the movies I do. And when I'm on a film set, everything else is secondary. When I'm on a film set, my focus is complete and absolute in that world. And anything else regarding, like you're saying, the frills of the industry, I think that is up to you. That is optional as a person. I have so many wonderful friends, and of course I enjoy spending time with him. But if you're talking about things like, airport looks or what you're doing on social media, I think that's just needs to come from you organically. There's no right or wrong according to me, and your films need to speak, and that's what I believe.
So overexposure is not your thing.
Like I said, it's each to their own. I won't comment on whether something is over or under. It's each to their own, right? Like if it makes you happy, then definitely, then absolutely you should do what makes you happy. Just being honest to yourself, being true to your personality and what works for you. I think that's what's important.
Right. And lastly, I read somewhere, I was watching a video where you said that Gone with the Wind was your inspiration.
Oh, now you're talking a good few years back. Gone with the Wind was one of my favorite films. I grew up on these old classic films.
Yeah.
And that was how I saw cinema. Movies was this romantic, nostalgic, beautiful fantasy world.
And where
women
were women, fragile yet tough. Yet serene.
I mean, women are complex, and there's so many different layers to a woman, and everyone is different. Of course, we generalize by saying that, but everyone is different, and there's no end to the different facets that a woman can portray on screen.
Yeah. So similarly, just connecting that, I think if a girl were to aspire to become an actor, I think this franchise could be one of those films which can inspire a girl to become an actor, right? It has a mix of everything.
I mean, that's really wonderfully put, and I definitely hope so. I definitely hope that that's what we've been able to achieve and do with this franchise and with this character.
Yeah, great. It's lovely talking to you, always, Katrina.
Lovely talking to you.
Thanks for being so persistent, so consistent, and always excelling at what you do.
Thank you.